Okay, welcome to today's class. I hope all the light and sound and everything is okay. I've just tried to put my microphone in. You probably all noticed that I get quite frustrated about technical problems. So I want to take back everything that I said about Google and YouTube in that last live lesson. They're wonderful. They've solved my problem, I think. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I hope that all the writing is the right way round. Now, I'm doing a lot of phrasal verb lessons because before Christmas, I'm going to give myself a deadline. Before Christmas, I hope to be able to make some exercises available for phrasal verbs that will accompany, they will go along with this course. They will go along with the videos. And I hope they will help you all learn these phrasal verbs by heart. So I can see somebody is already here. Can you tell me, is everything okay? Is the picture okay? Is the sound okay? Is the light okay? Okay, is the picture okay? Is the sound okay? Is the light okay? Let me know if anything's gone wrong anyway, and I'll stop and try and figure out what's gone wrong. So we're going to look at take phrasal verbs today. I've already done a video on take phrasal verbs, but it was quite bad quality. It was a long time ago. And so I want to do it again, and I want to do it closely following the phrasal verbs that I've already put in the book. Although I am sure that there are other take phrasal verbs, because there are so many phrasal verbs in the English language. So, if anybody knows any other take phrasal verbs, put them under the video, and over time I'll try to accumulate all the phrasal verbs that I can in this book. I want the number of phrasal verbs to build up, and if you join the channel, this will be available in future. It isn't yet, but if you sign up with my channel, I'll make that book available to everybody who signs up, and you'll have an ever-increasing number of phrasal verbs to learn. But they're really useful because these are the words that make you sound like a natural native English speaker, because these are the words we use all the time. So I started the class with saying I'd like to take back everything that I said about YouTube and Google. I said they didn't care about my videos, they didn't care about these lessons. Well, somebody did, somebody fixed the problem, so I'm very grateful to that person, and I'd like to take back everything that I said about the two companies. I don't know who fixed it, by the way. Nobody told me that it was fixed. But to retract, to take back your words, it means to go back on what you have already said and admit that you were wrong. So I was wrong. Somebody sorted out the technical problem. You can also say take something back, like withdraw, like take your troops back. That's quite rare, but you could imagine somebody saying, I'd like you to take that back a few centimetres, meaning withdraw it a few centimetres. That's all it would mean then. But you can also take your library books back, and you should take your library books back. Otherwise, you might receive a fine. Now, if you say, it takes me back, the smell of paint takes me back to my childhood. It brings me back to my childhood. That means that the smell makes you nostalgic about your childhood. It brings back lots of memories. It conjures up lots of memories. It summons up lots of memories. So there are plenty of other phrasal verbs that you can learn at the same time. And you ought to see phrasal verbs as a large web, like any large amount of vocabulary. It's a web. Lots of the words have relations to other phrasal verbs. So to take someone back, it takes me back to my childhood, or it takes me back to 3 years ago when I was living in Tahiti. It makes you nostalgic about that period. Okay, if you take someone up on an offer, this is the opposite of turn someone down. If you turn someone down, if you turn down a job offer, you don't want the job. But if you take someone up on a job offer, you do want the job, and you say, yes, that's great, that's a fantastic opportunity, I'd like to do that job. So you can take someone up on an offer, or you can turn someone down, turn someone's offer down. So they are kind of opposites, they're antonyms. Now, if you take it out on someone, that means that somebody has done something bad to you, and you take it out on someone else. So it's not very nice. You might say his older brother had a bad day at school and then he took it out on him. Yeah, something like that. It's when somebody does something bad to that person, and so he is bad to another person. Okay, to take it out of someone. This means to tire someone out, to wear someone out, to knacker someone out. So you might say he's training for a marathon, and every time he comes back from his run, the run has really taken it out of him. It's really tired him out. It's knackered him out. And I was playing football on Monday, and it really took it out of me because we had one less player than our opponents. We didn't have a full team, so it took it out of me. I did a lot of running around. Now, if you are taken aback, you are shocked or surprised about something. And here are some other good adjectives for surprised, because we have loads of adjectives for surprised. You could say you are dumbfounded, flabbergasted, gobsmacked. I particularly like that one because it's very visual. You say gob, which means mouth, and smacked, which means wallop. So gobsmacked, yeah? Shocked, surprised, dumbfounded. Okay, so take someone for. This is very similar to mistake someone for and play someone for, because take someone for means mistakenly perceive someone to be or mistakenly believe someone to be. So you might say something like this: don't take me for a fool, I'm not an idiot. Yeah, meaning don't think I'm a fool. You're mistaking me for a fool. And if you play someone for a fool, and all of these collocate very well with fool, if you play someone for a fool, it means you behave with them, you treat them like they're an idiot, but actually they may not be. So it's important to remember these three phrasal verbs, as they kind of mean mistakenly believe someone to be, and they're quite common. Okay, if you take someone in, this has two completely different meanings. If you if a trickster, a con artist, takes you in, it means they deceive you, and that's one meaning of this phrasal verb, to be deceived. If you say I was taken in by the card trick, or I was taken in by the phishing scam online, yeah, somebody sent you a fake email and you were taken in, you gave them the credit card details like an idiot, and then they took all of your money out of your bank, yeah? They took the money out of your bank, so it's another phrasal verb with take. So that would be deceive. But if you perhaps come across a stray dog and you feel sorry for him and you decide to take him in, that means you decide to accommodate the dog and look after the dog. But it doesn't have to be animals. It could be people as well. So maybe you have a relative, and that relative, for one reason or another, doesn't have anywhere to live anymore. It's quite unlikely, but let's say, for argument's sake, that this relative, perhaps they've lost their parents or something like that, and you decide to take that relative in. It means you decide to help them, to look after them, to bring them up, to put them up in your house, yeah, bring them up, look after them until they're older, while they grow up. Notice how many phrasal verbs with up we've already got here. Put someone up, bring someone up, grow up. So you take them in, you accommodate them and look after them. But please don't forget any of your phrasal verbs with up, because they're all very much related to these phrasal verbs. Okay, if you take in information, this means absorb information. It's related to the phrasal verb to sink in. So I hope over the course these phrasal verbs will start to sink in. And the best way to make sure that they do sink in is to start using them. If you say a word a few times, it's usually much easier to remember it. It's how I remember names. I try to use them. I'm not very good at remembering names, and so I have to use them to make sure that I know the person's name. And I think it's the same with language. I only remember a new piece of grammar in a foreign language if I have said it several times, and then it starts to sink in. So then I can take in the information and I can start to use the language effectively. So to take in means to absorb, and it's usually used with information, to take some information in. Now, there are some other ones here. To take someone on means to employ people. So you might say the new factory has taken on 50 new workers, yeah, 50 new employees. But take on something, take on a duty, take on a task, it means accept that duty, task, or responsibility. Now, it doesn't have to have an object, this one. You could say he has taken on a lot in the last few weeks, yeah? And it just means he's accepted a lot of duties, tasks, responsibilities. he's probably snowed under now at work. He's probably snowed under, yeah, because of taking on so much work. Now, I'm sorry about your comments, guys. It's very hard to read and explain at the same time. So I'm going to just have to lay out all of these phrasal verbs first. And then at the end, it's the best time to put questions on the phone. Okay, gain control of, take over. It just means gain control of. I think a lot of people are aware of this one. So if you say a new guy has taken over at work, it means you've got a new boss. And if you say a new guy took over from the old boss, you need that preposition from to say where he took over from. And you might say a new guy has taken over as CEO. And so as is another preposition that works very well with take over. He's taken over as our new CEO. And you could even take over a business. You might say BMW have taken over, I don't know, Ford. Don't know much about cars, I'm afraid. But you might say BMW have taken over a rival company. Okay, take something away. It usually means remove or subtract, but a second meaning has suddenly cropped up in my mind. It usually means remove or subtract, yeah? So if you take something away when you go to a meeting, it means you take that object with you. Maybe you take away, I don't know, business cards or something like that. Somebody's handing out business cards, so you take away some business cards. But subtract, it's also the opposite of add. So you can say 5 take away 3 is 2. Yeah, comes to. You can use comes to as well for maths, for adding and subtracting. 5 take away 3 comes to 2. And another thing that you can take away is information. So it's perhaps a third meaning here. So I hope you all, I hope you all take away something from this lesson. I hope you all take away a lot of phrasal verbs from this lesson. Yeah, and I mean that you go away from the lesson with a lot of knowledge. It could be used like that as well. Now, if you take after your father or your mother or your uncle or your aunt or your granddad, it means you are similar to that person. It's usually used for personality, but it could be used for appearance as well. But appearances often look like, yeah, he looks like his uncle, but you could say he takes after his uncle. They've both got big noses, or they've both got large ears, or something like that. I suppose you could. Okay, take something up with someone. Quite a complicated one, quite a long one. This means to complain. It's always to the authorities or to the management or something like this. Perhaps the waiter has brought you some soup and it's cold, and you decide to take it up with the manager. Very common one. Well, not very common because it's so specific, but widely known for sure. Everybody knows it. Now, if you take someone aside, you speak to that person privately. You should compare this with set money aside for the future, yeah, when you're saving up, or put money aside for the future, because it still means put money to one side. And when you speak to someone privately, you take them to one side so that nobody else can hear you. So take someone aside, just when they're in a group, you take them aside for a quiet word, for a little chat, so that nobody else can listen in on your conversation. Don't forget that phrasal verb. That's an excellent one. Listen in on, to eavesdrop, yeah, to try to hear somebody else's conversation. Okay, if you take something up, you might start a hobby. You might take up football. You might take up chess. You might take up windsurfing. But it can also mean fill time or space. So I've got loads of stuff taking up the space in this room. There's all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of junk cluttering up the room, so don't forget clutter up. There's a lot of junk around here cluttering up the room, and it means I don't have much space to move. So you could say that stuff is taking up a lot of space in this room, or that sofa takes up too much space, something like that. But it's also time. So you might say, I have a lot of new students and they are taking up too much of my free time. Something like that. It's not true, but I could say something like that. They're taking up too much of my free time. So time or space. Now, I've left the easy ones for the end. Look at these ones. Take something out. Take something out of your pocket. Put something in your pocket. Take something off, like remove clothes. Put something on, like put clothes on. and take something down and put something up. We'll look at that one in a second. But let's just look at these ones. Take something out, put something in. You should also remember fish something out of your bag, fish something out of your pocket. But it's the same as take something out, really, but remember these other phrasal verbs as well in connection to them. So you can take something out your pocket, put something in your pocket, take something out your bag, put something in your bag. Take something off. You can fling your clothes off. You can throw your clothes off. So it's not the only clothes phrasal verb with take off. There are others. But you can put something on. You can throw something on as well. I haven't written it down, but you can throw a jumper on. You can throw a pair of jeans on. It kind of works, yeah? So if you want to get fluent with these phrasal verbs, don't just use one, but use a variety of them. Lastly, you could take down a tent and you could put up a tent. So this one I think is quite similar to set something up, because you might say set up a tent, but normally I'd say put up. I think put something up is more physical. Set something up is more less tangible. So you set up a new business because it's not something you can touch, is it? It's not a physical thing. So you set up something which is not physical, but you put up something which is physical most of the time. That seems to be the general idea in my mind anyway. Lastly, if you've got some models, so if you've got questions, guys, now's the time to put them on the board, because, to put them on my phone. You can take something apart or put something together. So as a child, I loved putting together those tanks and planes. They were Airfix models, and I had a little tub of glue, and I loved putting together those models and then painting them at the end to do them up, to decorate them, yeah? But you could put together IKEA furniture. You could take apart the sofa because you're moving and you need to get it into the removals van, something like that. So they're very common as well. And of course, you can find a lot of these phrasal verbs in other videos that I've done. Now, I hope that's been interesting to you, interesting for you. Sorry, sometimes I have problems with my prepositions too. I hope that's been interesting for you. Concerning the book, I just want to make sure that it's finished, firstly, because I haven't finished writing it. There's at least another 40% to be written, but I'm going quite fast. So I hope it will be done in the next few weeks. I'll get a lot done today because I don't have too many students taking up my time today. So I'll try and get a lot done today. Do you have your own book all about phrasal verbs and expressions? It's coming. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's coming. And I want to include illustrations, and I also want to pay someone to format it for me. I'm not very good at the technical side of things sometimes, and so I'd rather just pay a company to make it all beautifully formatted so that the layout, yeah, it's a good phrasal verb, so that the layout is all clear and nice, and so that if somebody does want to buy the book, I don't feel like they're wasting their money, like they're frittering it away, but like they're buying something which is a good, you know, a product which I've spent a lot of time on and I'm happy with. So thanks everybody for watching. Please give me a like and a subscribe, blah blah blah, if that's what you want, and I hope to see you all soon. Yeah, it's coming. You can buy it very soon.